If the text we're about to dive into feels like a blueprint for tearing down or pretty much every assumption we have about society, law, even our own consciousness, then you are on the right track.
You really are.
Today, we're going deep into excerpts from Testo by Manadoro. And I have to say, this is probably the most intense, the most radical systemic critique we've ever come across in our source material.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a critique, is it? It's more like a total remapping of reality.
Yeah.
The argument isn't that society is flawed, but that the system itself is.
Yeah?
It's just defective by design.
Right.
So our mission for you, listening to this, is to help us pull this worldview apart. We need to really get to the core metaphor here, which casts humanity not as flawed people, but as mass-produced, malfunctioning machines.
Okay, so that's the frame. And with that, this entire deep dive is really built to answer two central questions. First, who or what is this mysterious occult programmer that's supposedly pulling all the strings?
Wait a second.
And second, what is the actual nature of this defective machine that we are all apparently a part of? So let's get into it. Let's unpack this control mechanism.
Okay, so the first thing, and this is crucial, is the distinction the text makes. Manadoro isn't saying that humans are, naturally just robots.
It's not a biological thing.
Not at all. The reduction of man to a machine, he calls it an automa. It's consequence. It's what happens when dogma turns life into what he calls a rituale continuo.
A continuous ritual. I mean, that language is so powerful, isn't it? It suggests our lives just become a series of mandatory, predictable steps instead of, choices.
Exactly. If dogma, whether that's political or consumerism or just social pressure, if that dictates every move, you lose all your autonomy.
And your internal life just, shuts down.
It seems so. The text claims the automa operates without any true feelings. It only has finte emozioni e similite.
Fake and simulated emotions.
Yeah. And just think about that for a second. It's the difference between, say, real grief and just performing the socially acceptable response to a loss.
Or like the happiness you perform on social media. It's not real. It's just crafted to be the right kind of output.
That's a perfect example. And if we're just performing, if our lives are just output from this ritual, that means there has to be an input, right? Something is dictating the ritual.
Which brings us right to the programmer.
It does. We have to look at the source of these mechanical actions. The text says, azioni dettate dal momento del programmatore occultato in bella vista.
Actions dictated by the moment of the programmer hidden in plain sight. That last part. Hidden in plain sight. That's the key.
It is.
It suggests this isn't some shadowy conspiracy that needs secrecy. The control is so normal, so baked into everyday life, the traffic lights, the quarterly reports, the elections, that we just don't see it as control anymore.
We mistake the program for reality. And if you try to find the programmer, you realize it's not one person. It's the whole architecture of power. It's the assumptions, the narratives, the operating system itself.
But this critique doesn't just stop at the societal operating system. Manadoro pushes it further into the metaphysical. There's this really explosive challenge to traditional divinity in the text.
Right. It asks, who is this God that created such a defective man? A creature built for ritual and fake emotion, and then never stops punishing him.
And the punishment is for one of two things, right? Either for his disobedience, which is built in, or for his search for truth.
And that's where the nihilism really takes hold. It says if the machine is programmed to fail and it's punished for that failure, then the defect isn't in the machine. The defect is systemic. It goes all the way back to the creator.
It completely flips the script. The fault lies with whoever pressed run on this whole rigged program.
It's a total break. The failure isn't human. It's pre-programmed.
So if the individual is just a defective machine, then who are the people who seem to be running the program, the ones who benefit from this ritual?
Well, that moves us from the individual automat to the ruling class. And Manadoro has a name for them that is just dripping with contempt. The figli di un Dio minore.
The children of a lesser god.
Exactly. They are the visible, administrative face of this hidden programming.
And the text defines them by their vanity and their arrogance. They rule with the presunzione di essere nel giusto.
The presumption of always being right. And that's coupled with this lethal ability to auto-assolversi.
To self-absolve, to forgive themselves.
Yes, they create the system, they enforce the ritual on everyone else, but they exempt themselves from all of it. They're always right and they're always forgiven just because of where they sit in the hierarchy.
So you have this triangle of control then. The occult programmer is the invisible ideology. The defective automa is us, the conditioned individual. And the children of a lesser god are the gatekeepers who manage it all.
You've got it. And they benefit because the automats are too busy with the ritual, too busy with simulated emotions to actually challenge anything.
Okay, that belief structure seems necessary to keep the whole thing going. Which brings us to how they judge people. What happens to morality when these self-absolving rulers judge the defective automats?
Now we get to maybe the most chilling line in the whole text. It completely inverts our idea of justice. Mannadoro states, Ogni accusa è in realtà una confessione.
Every accusation is actually a confession. Wow, okay, that's a huge claim. A confession of what?
The confession of their own participation in the system. When one of the elite, or even just one automat judging another, makes an accusation, they're using the system's language of blame. By doing that, they're admitting their own allegiance to the flawed program. They're confessing that they're a part of it.
So it's deeply hypocritical. You can only see the flaw in someone else because you have the same flawed programming inside you.
Precisely. The act of pointing the finger just reveals you're also a cog in the machine of condemnation. It's a closed loop of guilt. No one can get the moral high ground.
And what happens to the automats who get caught in this tainted justice system? The description is terrifying.
It is. The text says they are livellati al ribasso di un'asta giustiziaria truccata.
Leveled down in a rigged judicial auction. It's not even a trial, it's an auction. Like their life is being devalued and sold off.
That's the implication. It's a transactional act. And the outcome of being devalued in this rigged auction is absolute. Nessuna pietà per il sangue versato.
No pity for the blood spilled. Once the machine is discarded, it's over.
But what's really interesting is that this is what fuels a kind of philosophical resistance in the text. Because if the whole system is rigged, if the rulers are self-serving, then their laws mean nothing.
Of course, the conclusion they draw is severe. Nessuna legge promulgata dal figlio di un tale uomo vale la sua osservanza.
No law promulgated by the son of such a man deserves its observance. This isn't just civil disobedience, it's a complete rejection of all man-made authority that comes from this corrupt class.
It's the only way out then. If following the law just reinforces the ritual that makes you a machine, you have to refuse the premise of the law itself.
That seems to be the argument. It's radical noncompliance.
So if the whole system is designed to fail and dehumanize, what are the core gears that keep this engine running?
Mannadoro boils it down to just 4 concepts, really starkly. Denaro y guerra, vida y muerte.
Money and war, life and death.
Those are the 4 corners of the program. Money sets the value of the automa. War is how the system gets rid of defective parts on a mass scale. And life and death are just the boundaries of the program.
And it all leads to this idea that the system isn't just accidentally falling apart, it's built to fail. The text calls it total obsolescence programmata.
Total programmed obsolescence. That might be the most profound insight here. We know what that means for a product, right? It's designed to break.
Right, so you have to buy a new one.
Well, Mannadoro applies that to society itself. The legal systems, the markets, the politics, it's all designed not for stability, but for constant cyclical collapse and reset.
And the automats are just the disposable parts.
Meant to be consumed and discarded to make way for the next model. It explains why the ritual has to be so relentless. It's the only thing that keeps the machine running until its scheduled end.
But the text does mention people who fight back, doesn't it?
It does. It notes coloro che resistono in armi, those who resist in arms. But tragically, it calls them the progeny intoxicata.
The intoxicated progeny. Why intoxicated?
Well, it suggests that even their resistance is contaminated by the program. Maybe they fight using the system's own tools, violence, ideology, so their rebellion is just another simulated response, another part of the design.
Another dead end, the ultimate trap.
It is. And it all culminates in this final grim conclusion. A warning, really.
What does it say?
It says, La tragica fine è solo in mezzo per un nuovo inizio che non vi apparterà. The tragic end is only the means for a new beginning that will not belong to you.
Wow. So the whole collapse is inevitable, but it's not meant to save the people who are suffering now.
Not at all. The tragic end just wipes the slate clean for a new set of programmers, a new batch of the children of a lesser god. The automats who suffered are explicitly locked out of whatever comes next.
Okay, so let's try to synthesize this. It's a lot. Mannadoro is painting this picture of a controlled existence where you are essentially a defective machine.
Right, operating on simulated emotions.
Governed by a programmer hidden in plain sight, administered by arrogant elites who can just forgive themselves for anything.
And where justice is inverted, every accusation is a confession. and the entire structure is just built to fail, all fueled by money and war.
It's that final exclusion that really hits home, I think. The idea that even if you see the system fail, that failure isn't for you. It's just a reset button for a new program that you're not invited to.
It's a new beginning, yes, but one specifically designed to leave behind the current generation of automats who live through the ritual.
It really makes you wonder, if our lives are defined by this continuo rituale, dictated by some hidden program, what is the one single action, the truly spontaneous thing we could do today that is genuinely our own?
That's the question.
Not a simulated response, not something expected by the children of a lesser god, but one completely free, unprogrammed act. And if society is already designed for total programmed obsolescence, what does resistance even look like when you know the system expects you to try and fail? That is the question we want to leave you with.
Game over.